In this video, you're going to see 21 tips on how to get the best out of the Insta360 One R. My name is SHOWDOWN and today I have a special guest with me in this collab, and that's Rich from Insta360. Let's get into it. So over to you, Rich. Good to be collaborating with you again.
Cheers, Sub. It's great to be doing another collab with you. Thanks for inviting me to your channel. I'll kick it off. Let's get straight to it with tip number one. One of my favourite ways to edit with the Insta360 One R is in Viewfinder Mode, which is basically like a live edit with no keyframes needed. This was a feature well known with the One X, but with the One R it feels more hidden, but it is still there. You have to press the camera icon here, and then you simply press and hold the record button, and then you move the screen around to direct the action, and you can slide the record button along to zoom out to a tiny planet. And then you take your finger off to finish recording. It's a real fun and easy way to edit.
Freeze frame is a great feature on the Insta360 One R, using the clever AI to render an ultra super slow motion, which adds a great effect to your videos. There's a lot of videos out there showing you how to do that, but an awesome little trick is the ability to reframe your freeze frame shots too. You'll need your 360 mod for this and your selfie stick, and then do something like what I just did here, or something like that. Next, open up the Insta360 app and select the video that you want. Now, using the timeline at the bottom of the screen, we can scrub through our footage and find the point where we want to create some of that slow-mo. When you get there, tap on this little lightning bolt setting and select freeze. I'm going to be selecting it for 10 seconds, then tap on the check mark. Now you'll notice that the video freezes when it gets to that point, and because this is a 360 video, we can reframe this looking at any direction and add keyframes if we want. So I'm going to have it zoomed in a little bit. I'm going to create a keyframe here, set my aspect ratio to be zoomed in just a little bit there, and I'm going to scrub forward to the end of the freeze frame, create another keyframe and widen the aspect ratio out a little bit. So now throughout the course of that slow-mo section, the camera will be slowly panning out a little bit. Now all you have to do is hit the export button at the top, and that's all there is to it. Remember to just record at a normal frame rate, not in slow motion, because you actually can't use this effect if the video is recorded in slow motion. Strange, but true.
This question I get asked a lot, and that's how do you remove the Insta360 logo that appears at the bottom right hand corner of your shots? It's really easy to turn off, but I think because of how it's worded, it's not obvious where it is. Go into settings in the app and scroll down to the bottom and look for shot on watermark, and then you simply turn it off.
If you want to take your bullet time shots to the next level, you don't have to set the camera on the bullet time effect that is built in. Basically what it's doing when you set it on the bullet time option is that it's shooting 3K at 100 frames per second. So it's slow motion, but I like to make a compromise and shoot at 4K at 50 frames per second. This compromise is giving us a little bit higher resolution, but not quite as slow as a frame rate. All right, if you just kind of left it like this, it's kind of unwatchable. But now we have deep tracking. I don't have to go through the hassle of keyframing to keep me in the center. I can just focus on me to activate deep tracking, and there we go, done. Higher resolution bullet time, not quite as slow motion, but it's actually probably doing a better job of keeping me in the frame too.
Another tip when you're using the extended selfie stick and you're doing a big camera move is to rotate the angle of the camera so that the bend of the stick is hidden in the stitch line. Otherwise you run the risk of seeing the stick in your final shot. Also, another quick bonus tip with the extended selfie stick, a lot of people don't realise that you can actually fix it at 3 lengths, not 2. For the middle length, first you have to extend the first 2 sections of the pole and then slide the bung down to hold it in place.
Consider slowing your footage down to 100 frames per second using the 4K module to capture cinematic slow motion shots of people or animals. this can look really cinematic and cool, and you can still get pretty good video. Now, using that 4K module, you can capture up 100 frames per second at 2.7K resolution, which you can't do with the 1-inch sensor. So it's a nice little feature using that 4K mod for those nice cinematic shots. Check it out. You'll probably get the most out of this tip if you export from Studio. Rich will talk about that later in the video, so make sure you keep watching.
You can now use ND filters on all 3 mods with the Insta360 1R, including the 360 mod. ND filters reduce the amount of light entering into the camera, giving you more control over the camera's shutter speed. This then helps to create more motion blur in your shots, making your action shots look more natural. And with the 360 mod, the ND filter also doubles up as a lens guard.
When you're exporting out of the app, check out the custom option for exports where you can tweak the quality of your render when using that app to edit. If there are options available for the type of footage you're using, you'll find them here, available for resolution, bitrate, and maximum frame rate.
If you want to record long time lapses, or you just want the convenience of not changing batteries, then you really should consider the boosted battery. When I tested this battery, it recorded for 144 minutes, which is amazing. But be aware that the boosted battery isn't recommended for action, and you can't use the lens guards or use the camera underwater.
Remember when Tiny Planet videos were first possible and you had to edit and keyframe to keep yourself on top of the planet? It took a while, didn't it? No more. The AI keeps you on top of the planet for you. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
An additional tip when doing the rolling planet shot on grass is to use the ground spike. This ground spike from Bushman has a 1/4 inch thread on top, and its footprint is pretty much non-existent, which means that there's no tripod at all showing up in your final shot.
Timeflip is a great little feature, and you can use it in your videos to tell a story about moving from one place to another to link up your clips. A bit like a transition. Take a look here. Alright, what you got for me now, Rich? Lay it on me.
One of my favourite shot lab effects is flash dash, and the reason why is that the AI pretty much works no matter what you do. So when you do this shot, experiment with the position of the selfie stick. Put it in front, behind, to the side, and you can even put the camera on a tripod and run around the tripod the same way as the rolling planet shot and create this effect.
I love the new Flylapse effect. It's like a hyperlapse without the horizon leveling, with AI to calculate just when you perform those banks and rolls for a drone-like simulation effect. And all you have to do is press record and walk around for 3 minutes. It works best if you can find somewhere reasonably tight and narrow to walk around. Not so easy where I live, but here goes.
Clone trail is another one of my favourite shot lab effects, and if you want to get the best clone trails possible, then these tips will help. Because you're using AI, the clones chosen in your final shot aren't always the ones that you would choose to use. To increase the chances of capturing better clones, use the straight line clone trail because it gives you a longer shot and more opportunities to do more movements. And if there's a particular movement you want to capture, then repeat it several times throughout the shot. And finally, when you get to the app, set the clone density to high, which creates as many clones as you possibly can.
Insta360 has developed new AI techniques to allow creators to get the best image quality out of their device. Pureshot uses AI to enhance the dynamic range of photos while reducing noise and preserving detail, resulting in a fantastically vibrant image. What used to be multiple shots combined into one with auto exposure bracketing now just takes a single tap with Pureshot. And remember, it works best when there are areas of both darkness and bright light in the shot, or a high dynamic range. It doesn't work so well when shooting in bright sunlight, so just remember that for best results. Check out these comparisons to see what I mean, and I found that you get good results with the 4K, but even better with the 1-inch module.
Did you know that in the Insta360 One R, if you have a particular camera setting that is your favourite, you can set it as a preset in the camera menu. You simply set your camera up with your favourite ISO, shutter, frame rate, etc., and then you select the camera icon in the bottom left hand corner. Now scroll down to the icon in the bottom left of the LCD. The preset slots will now appear. P0 is fixed with Flylapse, but you have 2 additional settings you can use, and you simply press replace and then confirm, and then the camera will save your new settings to this preset.
Use linear mode to remove that fisheye distortion from the wider mode. Sometimes you want that wider mode, but sometimes you want a more traditional look. Check out the differences here.
For a few years now with the Insta360 cameras, we're only able to trim the beginning and the end of our shots. But now we can select several sections of one clip, cutting out all the stuff we don't want and bring it together into one sequence. You simply use the trim tool multiple times, and it's important to know that the bits that you are selecting with the trim tool are the bits you are wanting to keep and not the bits you want to delete. Select the tick icon once you finish, and that's it, you're done.
Now that we have the refreshed firmware for the One R, you don't have to manually switch on this low light stabilization option anymore. The AI automatically switches it on for you if it detects that your shooting conditions indicate it's a good idea to add that additional stabilization, and it works especially well with the 1-inch module, which is already great in low light.
Insta360 Studio has seen a lot of updates over the recent months, so if you haven't used it recently, it's worth going over to take another look. You can now use features such as deep track and time shift, and you also have finer controls of your shots, so you can adjust pan angle, roll angle, tilt angle and field of view. And adding extra value as always, is back to you, Sub, for a bonus tip.
Thanks, Rich, and yes, I couldn't leave you without giving you that extra bonus tip, could I? You may not have seen it used much, but a recent addition to the editing app for the Insta360 One R is the ability to do 360 dynamic camera movement transitions between clips. These transitions are the secret sauce for elevating your reframed edits. Add them with a tap in One R's in-app editor. Thanks for watching all. Applaud, like, share, spread these tips around like delicious peanut butter or something like that. Jump over to Rich's Eat Sleep 360 channel by checking out these videos here. Cheers all, thanks for watching. Thanks again, Rich, for the collaboration.
Nice one, thanks, Sub.
We are out.